welcome to MGP493. I'm Kevin. With me as ever, the Sheepdog, Anna and Pab. Say hello, boys and girls.
Hello.
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 Anna's back.
I am. I was not feeling
People
very
were
well.
asking where you were last week.
I
They
wasn't
thought
feeling
I'd
well.
killed you
No,
or moved you out or something.
no, just I had a anxiety-induced headache from the next day activities, so I went to bed.
We went gallivanting the next day, didn't we?
Yes.
We went to London.
Andy was lovely, but my pain was horrendous, so I won't be doing that again.
But we got to go on a lovely bus tour.
Oh,
We got
how
to
was
see all
the
the
bus
pretty
tour?
Christmas lights. It was excellent. It was cold.
I
These bus
wasn't
tours are cold, Pab.
I was quite
Yeah, it's
warm.
because your heart was doing 200 beats a minute. That would tend to keep a person warm. Those of us who were just enjoying ourselves rather than panicking about everything were cold. I had so many layers with me, and I was glad of them all. But yeah, it was excellent. We got all the way around London, looking at all the pretty Christmas lights. It was excellent.
Did you propose at every landmark like I told you to, so that you get people buying your stuff?
Well, I was sat next to a small Chinese woman, so no.
I thought she was from Nottingham.
No, she was sat in
All
front
this
of
time. Right, okay.
No, I
Yeah,
was sat
the
with
lady,
Andy.
the lady I was sat next to probably wouldn't have appreciated me proposing to her, especially because her husband and child were sat behind us. So
I had done. You could have split the spoils of war. That was, I mean, if you and I are out in London again, you need to propose to me everywhere, and I'll act as delighted
why do
with
I
it
have
as
to
you
propose
like.
everywhere? You can do half of the proposing.
Well, I'll propose.
Why have I got to do it all?
Well, no, I just need you to commit to the bit enough that I feel like you are
Just
committed to the bit.
because I'm clearly the more masculine of the two of us, there's no reason why you shouldn't propose every now and again.
I think people would think, oh, he's desperate, like he's proposing because he thinks he's going to lose him if I propose. Whereas if you propose, they're like, oh, look at him, little darling, he didn't see that coming. This is the happiest moment of his life. Whereas, yeah, they know you're settling. They know that you're, I'm trying to lock you in before you run away. But no, I'd
Before
want
I
you
run
to
off
commit
with
to the
Pab,
bit
who'll
first.
be with us, I imagine, because we don't hang out in London without Pab. So
He
he'll
can
just
film
be there
it.
watching all of this.
He can film it.
We've brought our son out, but now it is time for us to get married.
See, I'm not wearing a wedding ring. Mine don't fit. So you can pull it off as well. I'll look
The problem is
legitimate.
I wear my aura ring on my wedding finger because my other hand swelled up about a year ago and I moved it and I've never moved it back. So I have officially been married for about the last year and Anna hasn't noticed.
Last time I tried to put mine on, my finger went dark purple because it got stuck halfway, and I just haven't tried since. Every now and again I try.
This is why you shouldn't crash diet for your wedding and then go back to normal afterwards, you mental person. Things like this happen.
I did get it resized as well, though. I've just, who knew fingers change size so much?
I mean, people, probably. I imagine the jeweler could have told you.
Yeah, I'm already sized like ZZ or something stupid. Like, I've done the alphabet
Can I interest
twice.
you in a bracelet instead, sir?
When they said to me, like, we can send it up to be melted and redone, I was like, either you're making the metal thinner or you're adding metal to it. Like, if the more I eat, the more gold you add to this, then, and you're only charging me to have it melted down.
I mean, that is the big benefit of being fat. Bigger rings don't cost more.
Yeah. I mean, my ring costs more.
Bigger clothes don't
theirs, to be
cost
fair.
more. We get value for money on everything. Our clothes cost the same. Pab, as a northerner, how does that make you feel? If me and you buy the same pair of trousers, I'm getting more trouser for my money.
Thing is, though, Pab's benefit here is if you're ever trapped somewhere high, he can knock you out, take your top, jump out the window and parachute down to land, and he'll be absolutely fine. Whereas if you or I tried that with any clothes, we're just going to fall, basically. But then they'll jump on us, they'll have a soft landing, they'll bounce off our bellies. But yeah, we're basically the parachute holders for all the skinny people.
I don't like the sound of this, but I do like getting extra trouser for my money.
Yeah.
What?
But I discourage people from jumping on me. What do you mean, what? I get more trouser than you.
I spaced out
when we
long
buy
ago.
trousers... When we buy... Pab, it's very simple. If me and you go trouser shopping together, we will pay the same price for our trousers. I, however, will end up with more trouser. So I get better value for money.
But
If you were a savvy man,
what would
Pab,
I-
you'd
what would
buy
I do?
Kev-sized trousers.
if I bought,
You should get my size trousers,
Then what?
trim the excess off, store it, and then every, 3 or 4 pairs of trousers you buy, you'd be like, whoa, no. I'm not buying trousers. I'm stitching together these offcuts and basically getting a free pair of trousers every 4 or 5.
I mean, that
You don't
sounds
think,
like
Pat,
more effort.
you're supposed to be northern.
That's more effort than it is.
You're going to do it,
Worth
though,
it.
aren't you? Now you've figured out there's a saving to be made. If you trim a T-shirt every time you buy one, you'll be quids in.
What if it's a T-shirt made of gold, like a ring, like we were talking about before? If me and you got married, Pab, and got matching rings, they're going to cost the same, but I'm getting so much more gold than you.
Negligible.
Wow.
But you're going to know. You're going to sit there knowing that Kev's finger is more valuable than yours.
I'm going to know you don't love me as much as I love you because I've got more gold than you. You didn't commit to the same amount of gold as me. I'm going to be fuming.
Surely it's the fact. Surely it would be that I am.
I'm going to need you to have one of your teeth done as well if we get married.
Okay.
You need a gold tooth to balance
just
it
make
out.
the gold on his fatter and yours thinner.
But then we have the reverse situation where his looks bigger than mine, even though mine is bigger than his, and that won't do either. It's teeth or nothing, Pab. That's the terms of this engagement.
Yeah,
I'll think
seems
about
fair.
it.
We've solved the age-old problem there.
And listeners, if you are paying attention, you will notice I've just skillfully swerved from marrying Sheepdog to Pab.
I haven't got a clue what's going on.
All I know is next time we're in London, we're going to see how much free stuff we can get by proposing. Last time I passed a marriage, there was a wedding dress shop in Westfield, and I thought, I wonder how they'd react if I went in there and told them I was getting married and I wanted to try on some dresses. Not that I want to try them on. I just thought, I wonder how they'd react if I was like, just completely serious. Like, well, yeah.
Probably the same way the jeweller reacted. Well, I'm afraid we don't have it in your size, sir.
Yeah. Well, no, they did though. They
We'll
they
have
went
to
and got
send
their-
off to the factory. Can you come back in 3 weeks?
They'll have double Z wedding dresses, surely.
I wouldn't have thought so. I'm not an expert on bridal wear. I don't think you get a lot of brides with Sheepdog's figure looking for a wedding dress.
You'd be surprised.
They'd probably like put a corset on me and tighten it quite tightly. My breasts would never look better than they did in that. Could you imagine?
I'm trying not to.
What is going on?
I've got to sleep tonight.
The listeners are thinking about it. They're loving it.
But I am now thinking I'm going to put you through this AIR app that I've been putting all over Twitter and Instagram today. Lenser, I think it's called. I put myself through and it was quite good. It was just like cartoony versions of me. I put Anna through and it was just randomly generated faces and massive boobs. So I'm thinking if I put Sheepdog through it, but tell it he's a woman, we might be able to get a version of Wedding Dress Sheepdog for free without having to buy a wedding dress.
I wasn't planning on buying the wedding dress. I haven't got like $3,000 to commit to a
I was going to
bit.
buy you a dress. If we're going dress shopping, I'm obviously going to buy you a dress.
You know what? You're buying Sheepdog a dress before me.
I've told you can have a dress whenever you want.
I mean, Anna, if we were to work on this together, I could just end up in a much larger version of the dress you want, and then we could get it adapted and shrunk down to the right size for you once I've had a go on it.
This sounds like a very long-winded way to get Anna a wedding dress. Bearing in mind we've been engaged for 10 years. She can
It's not
have
the
one
most
when she
ideal
wants.
way. Don't want to walking down the aisle thinking Sheepdog wore this. I assumed I'd be the priest at your wedding, not the person who wore in the dress. I
don't think there is a person who wears in the dress for a wedding. I don't think that's a normal role.
Well, it is going to be the new role that I've invented there. You know, it needs
Can you
doing.
break in my shoes while you're at it as well, please?
If they go with the dress, yes.
They won't. Well, that was an unexpected start to the podcast. We were supposed to be talking about if we've got any plans for our 500th episode, which there's a very real danger. Episode 500 will coincide with some of our typical end-of-year specials. How long is it until the end of the year? How long is it until episode 500? I can't do both these elements of maths.
Like
7 episodes.
June. Not June. I mean January.
7.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be... I mean, based on how often we miss shows, it may well be June.
Plus.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 left this year, and one of them's going to be the.
Well, we don't
But I
like
guess
that
the Zeitgeist isn't a numbered episode. Is Game of the Year a numbered episode normally?
27th of January or the 3rd of February.
And
if
me
we
and
don't
Anna
miss
are
any.
on holiday in a couple of weeks, so we're missing one.
In
We'll probably
November.
miss one over Christmas as well.
No.
Should we get a
So-
Valentine's Day special then?
Might be. We need a plan for episode 500. Listeners, tweet at RB6K and let us know what we should do for our 500th episode special, because as Sheepdog rightfully pointed out before we hit record, it's quite rare for a podcast to hit 500 episodes, especially a weekly podcast. You get some of these rascals who cheat by doing daily podcasts who get there, but for a weekly podcast to get to 500 episodes without ever making any money or getting any kind of success is real commitment to the cause, I think.
The thing is as well, like, we are one of the few podcasts in the world, because this was a genuine problem we had to figure out. So podcasts every week, when you update it, you update a thing called an RSS feed, it adds a little line to it. And the company that runs those feeds only allows you to have a file of a certain size, because they assume that it's a text file, and text files never really get that big. And we are one of the few podcasts in the world that went above the file size you were allowed to have for this little feed thing. And that's why our episodes stopped appearing on everything about a year ago. And I had to sit there and work out what on earth was going on. And I finally found some random podcast in America who were like, this has just happened to us. And they did all the legwork, and then I got to see the company's response going, I can't believe it. I've never seen a podcast fill the RSS feed file before, but you've just done it. You've hit whatever episode it was. And I got to come back and tell Kev, Anna, and Pab that that's what we'd done. And podcasts don't normally do that. But yeah, we're on our... I've had to. That's why I had to move like 200 episodes to MGP archives, whatever it's called. But yeah, we're hitting all the problems that podcasts who've been on too long are hitting, and yeah, we need to celebrate it.
We're a trailblazing podcast. We're an early adopter who's still going. There's not many of them around. We started podcasting in 2010. There's nobody who was doing it in 2010 who's still doing it every week now. Nobody. I won't have it.
If you are going to tweet at RB6K with ideas, could you also tweet at Chris Akabusi and tell him, look, it's been 10 years, Chris.
Is just before we do this very old bit, he is still alive, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
We haven't checked recently.
Why did you have to say that?
He hasn't been pulled up for something, has he?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done the Chris Akabusi bit for about 8 years. We do need to just run a quick background check and make sure he's still alive.
Okay, I don't think this is his Twitter account, because his profile is from the four walls of my £123,000 mansion. I'll be updating you on my daily exploits. Officially page of the Gecko Awooga. That's probably not him.
Right, he is still alive, and his Wikipedia page doesn't have a scandals section, so I think we're all right.
Because that was the reason we got into podcasting in the first place, wasn't it? To get Chris Akabusi.
It was certainly one of the reasons, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, I found this proper one that calls him a existential philosopher, a professional speaker, a trusted confidant.
What, you telling me Chris _Akabusi with 137 followers isn't him?
No, I'm telling you, Chris Akabusi with a K with 32,000 followers. You've got more followers than him now.
Well, I mean, what's he done in the last 10 years? All he's known for in the last 10 years is us mentioning him. And I've just looked at him and it says his account is suspended. What has Akabusi been doing?
Oh, good Lord. I mean, no, I'm on the one that's not suspended, and it's got a tick next to it, but that could have meant he paid his £8 these days. Damn it, Musk. How are we supposed to track down the real Chris Akabusi?
Click on the tick.
£8 is a lie. Don't click on the tick. Clicking on the tick is what a coward would do. Ticks should never be clicked. That's the rule. Clicks should never be ticked. Clicks should never.
Clicks should never be clicked. Account verified because it's notable government, news, entertainment, or other designated category. So he's the real.
It's probably a real one, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we could reignite this man's career. We just tell him, look, there's a decade-old podcast celebrating his 500th, and they've been trying to get you on. I mean, I was probably tweeting the wrong Chris Akabusi account looking at this. This ain't the one I'm used to inviting on stuff. Not that I've done it in a while. As Kev said, it's an old bit. But, yeah, I wonder if he ever found out that we were rating restaurants by how we thought Chris Akabusi would enjoy it. That wasn't even with you. That's with my brother-in-law. But we had a phase where we just used to rate places we ate based on whether we thought he'd enjoy it or not.
So this was just private conversations between you and a member of your family, and you're wondering if he knows about it.
Yeah, well, I definitely.
He probably doesn't. I would suggest he probably doesn't know about it.
Well, I DM'd him about it, Kev. I'm not, I'm just wondering if he saw it.
Interesting. So video games then. That's a thing that we all play and enjoy, and talk about each week on this show. I've only played 2 this week, as you can imagine. Football Manager, that's quite a good one, but I've got nothing new to say about it, other than the fact it has had its update this week and apparently has now been fixed because it was broken.
Was that after your video?
It's now fixed. It's out. Well, the video that we did, the 4 of us.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just because of that, but
Did it
I mean
help?
that video has had nearly 200,000 views now. So I think it probably helped. It's the biggest update outside of a transfer window that they've ever done. So many fixes that for the first time ever, I had to release a video of me going through patch notes, which I've never had to do before, because normally the patch notes are just nonsense, like fix the rules of the Argentinian third tier playoffs where they only had 8 substitutes rather than 7, and it's just nonsense like that. But this was stuff like stopped goalkeepers from throwing the ball into their own net. It was stuff on that kind of level. This was some big stuff. So there are some major patch notes. If you've tried FM23, I guess the only reason you'd have tried and stopped is if you just had a little go on Game Pass or something. But if you've tried it, thought it was a bit clunky, maybe now's the time to give it another go. It is certainly less clunky than it was before. I've not played a lot of it post-patch, but what I have played does seem to be less clunky, like
I'm
they've
relieved
said.
you said that, because I played it on stream and felt like I just ballsed it. I mean, I do balls it up. I've got a habit of throwing a chair at a player or something, and then it all goes wrong for me. But I just felt like it was going more wrong than I usually make it. So I'm going to blame the game, and I'll play it again at some point. But yeah,
it's a very wise decision.
Go on, Pep.
I have a question. I don't know why I've raised my hand then. I don't know why.
That's why we're letting you speak.
It's good.
Yeah.
Pab, I'll come to you, Pab, because you asked so politely.
Did they ever fix that bug that you got stuck in where you had to leave your job, but your job...
Oh, God, no, that's been in there for years
Has that
as well.
never been resolved?
No, it's such a unique scenario that it hasn't come up again this year, but there's no announcement that it's been fixed, so I assumed it's still broken. It's basically where you agree to leave a job at the end of the season to go and manage someone else, but it does it based on the end of the season of the club that the club that you're going to manage rather than the club that you're managing. So the way I had it on FM22 was I was managing Real Madrid, agreed to go and manage Dortmund at the end of the season, but Dortmund's season ended before the Champions League final with Real Madrid, and I left Real Madrid a couple of days before the Champions League final that we were playing in to go and manage Dortmund. And yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's still broken because there's been no announcement that it's been fixed. One big thing that is fixed, which I made a huge fuss about, is, and this is very niche, if you're not into Football Manager, just fast forward 60 seconds. But the squad planner now automatically shows trialists, which it didn't do before. And oh, goodness me, did I make a fuss about that. So I'm glad that's been fixed. Thank you, Football Manager, for listening and fixing things.
Nice.
Thank you for listening
Has
to
it-
the
has it
podcast.
fixed the
It's fun if you
things-
hear that.
Has it fixed things that you mentioned in the video then?
Oh, yeah. Everything that we mentioned in the video pretty much has been at least looked at. Yeah.
Nice.
Could you do a video about Pokemon?
Well, that's been... I mean, it was bizarre. The only 2 games I've played for like 2 weeks now are Football Manager and Pokemon, and they both put a major patch out within like an hour of each other yesterday.
Andy, Kevin ran upstairs and goes, I need to do this before I stream, I need to update it. Like, he literally came up the 2 flights of stairs just to come and do
that's
that.
because as soon... I've got into the habit now. I stream in the evenings, finish at 10 o'clock, and then straight up get into bed and play Pokemon until I fall asleep. So I needed to make sure the update was done before my Pokemon session.
You're right.
So there has been a Pokemon update.
I didn't know that.
I'm not aware of what it's fixed because it still seems the same as it was before.
I was going to say, I'm just going to Google Pokemon patch update notes. And
I
see.
suspect all it actually was bringing the Charizard event into it rather than actually fixing anything.
So the problem is, this is literally the only problem I have with the game. I love every other part of it. To give it, I've played 2 games this week, and just to talk about this for a moment beyond what we're currently talking about, I've basically finished it now. I've got like 18 more Pokemon to get, and I've done, I think, everything else possible. I'm at the point where once I've got those 18, I'm willing to go and read and see what I've actually missed and whether there's lots of stuff I haven't done. But this update came out, and I thought the one thing they're going to obviously fix is when you go into the raids, you can basically, the Pokemon appears that you're fighting. So the Charizard was added in, the big thing. It's a level 100 Charizard. It's a Dragon Terra type, and basically anyone who's a Pokemon nerd has spent the week building an Azumarill Pokemon that is, it's got the right fairy move, it's got the right Terra type, it's got level 100. They've maxed all its stats out. They're giving it the right item. And the big talk of the town was that this should effectively be able to hit it twice and it'll be dead. Now, I built one because I was like, oh, I've never done this before. It'd be interesting to just have a play around with it. And I was using it in raids before Charizard came out just to see how it was doing. And what would happen is the raid would start. I would do this move where the Azumarill hits itself on the belly, halves its health, but its attack doubles. So it's running with like a stupidly high attack. And then the next move is so powerful that it effectively pushes the Pokemon's health down to 0. But what the game does is it goes to 0 health, then it says the Charizard has got a shield in front of it, and then its health goes back up to like 2/3, and then there's a shield there, and then you have to spend the next minute cracking that down, and then it'll have like a tiny bit of health left, and you hit it again, and suddenly the health goes up again, and it's like really inconsistent and weird, and it keeps miraculously healing itself without actually healing itself, and then sometimes you win, and sometimes it goes, the Charizard burst, pushed you out of the den, you can't fight anymore, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I went in with 3 other people who had perfect counters and smashed it, and we failed. I went in with 3 people, and I sent Lewis a picture going, look at the state of these teams, these people haven't prepared at all, and then we somehow beat it, although I did most of the hitting. But yeah, I've just had it over and over again now where Charizard dies, comes back from the dead, whittles down for ages, then somehow beats me, and I'm like, I could have killed you with one shot 4 times, and it's not worked. So I thought they were going to fix that, but they haven't. I'm hoping that it will turn out there's some rule I'm missing, or it's probably just that it has to go through the motions of having the shield come up. But what should be a formality of me going in there and beating them is unpredictable every time now, which is probably more interesting. But yeah, I was a little bit miffed that I put all that effort in, although I learned a bit about hyper training. I thought hyper training was something that nerds spent weeks doing, but you literally go meet a man next to a tree, you give him a bottle cap, and you say, I want to hyper train my Pokemon, and he just goes, yeah, it's done. And it took seconds, and I was really surprised that it took seconds, because I've never done it before. This is like the 9th gen of Pokemon, and I've never hyper trained a Pokemon before now because I thought it was hassle. So yeah,
what on earth is hyper training?
So like they have like background stats that are behind, you can't see them, and the higher they are, the more potential attack, defense, HP, and everything your Pokemon can have. And if you go to them with bottle caps and say, I want you to hyper train the attack, for example, it will maximize the attack for that Pokemon. So if you pick up bottle caps along the way, you just find that guy, you give them to him. So I just gave him 6 and said, yeah, I want all the stats for my Azumarill to be maxed out. And he just went, yeah, it's done. And I was like, what? I really expected it to be harder than that. It's meant to be so people can build like properly competitive teams and do it all to the max. But obviously in these raids, when they're bringing out these 7-star raids, to be able to effectively do them realistically and reliably, when they're level 100, you need to have a level 100 that's going to be well trained to do it. But yeah, it being beholden to other people's picks has been a little bit frustrating. I had someone go in with a Blissey that has like no attack and can't do any damage, and they just kept sort of healing me even though I already had an item that healed me. And I was like, I don't need you standing there healing me, you idiot. I need you to attack the Charizard. And they just weren't. And it's like, attack them. I need you to... Like, we missed out. I think it had like 10 HP or whatever at the end. And even though the Blissey would have done very little, I was like, you could have done something. But you just stood there trying to be a support when everybody with a brain has already supported themselves, But yeah, other than that, I've loved the game. The update, I can't see any other notes of what they've done other than brought out Charizard. Maybe they've fixed some of the other little bits that I'm too far into the game to see a problem with now. But I'm gonna have a read through the patch notes while you talk, if you want to talk for a moment.
I mean, I'm behind where you are in the game because I've not been able to play it for 500 hours a day like you managed to. So I finally saw the credits last night, So I'm not going to be able to do the Charizard stuff this time because I have not got time to race round and do all of the gyms again and whatever else you have to do to be able to unlock the... You have to unlock the 6-star raids to get the 7-star ones to show up, I think.
Yeah,
so
basically. I don't remember seeing credits.
Credits, yeah, after you complete the 3 like quest line things, once you've done all of them, credits roll.
Oh, all right. I must have skipped them or something. I don't know.
Well, I wish you could. They went on for ages. I was sat there at 20 past midnight last night thinking, come on, I want to go to sleep.
I remember now,
Ed Sheeran singing his song.
I put the switch on the side and left. I'm not listening to Ed Sheeran. They can freaking do
I listened to the whole song, waiting to... Because I didn't want to miss anything that might be coming after the credits. So I thought, I've got to get through these before I can go to sleep. But I was falling asleep listening to Ed Sheeran sing me a lullaby, which was unacceptable, really. But yeah, I'm having lots of fun with it. I was saying on stream the other day that this is, as much as people are whining about it, I've had more fun with this Pokemon game than I ever had with any other one before. I just like being able to go off and do my own thing. I'm having a lovely old time. So it doesn't matter that it's a bit broken. I'm just drawn to the games that are a bit broken. Football Manager and Pokemon. I'm all about bit broken, me.
Just getting mine out to see how much time I actually have spent on it now, because I have been playing the heck out.
I've just checked. I've only done 35 hours to get to the credits, so I've just started it on my second Switch, the other version of the game, so I can trade in. Mainly I want to trade in the other starters and a few other bits that are exclusives.
If I were you, I rather than still play both games because they are different in little ways and stuff like that. But if you wonder trade for a bit, you'll get the other 2 starters very quickly. And what I would say is, I can send you it if you want. There's a YouTuber who has made like a process where, let's say you have Scarlet exclusive and their Pokemon number is 302. Then if you put in 0302 as the trade code, you'll get someone looking for that starter and they'll have the equivalent one on this list. So they'll have, 0304. And the idea is that you're both looking for your exclusive from your game and you'll trade them. So he's set it all out and that's gone viral because everyone's using it. So I went and I got all the Violet trades from just random people on the internet. That's probably one of the easiest bits. The only reason I've still got 18 gaps is... I can't find like the babies of a couple of Pokemon that the map tells me they're available in this certain area, but I can't bloody find them for the life of me. Weirdly, Charizard
Stop trying to steal people's babies.
Charizard doesn't count towards a dex either, which is surprising. 72 hours I've played.
Jeez. Absolutely insane for a game that's been out less than 2 weeks. Or is it exactly 2 weeks now?
Exactly 2 weeks, yeah.
So you're doing this as a full-time job at the moment. Which is impressive.
I didn't even really consider that. It does feel like I don't know why I'm saying. I've turned it on, looked at my profile, and then clicked save game. Don't know why I did that. I think it's like you said. It's the most fun. I loved Legends Arceus, but and obviously I played Sword and Shield 4 times through at least, but I have really enjoyed this. I think people putting videos out ranting about Pokemon is just easy clicks, isn't it? I don't think any of them are legitimately seriously having a moan, and if they are, they just don't seem to get it, do they, at this point? But yeah, I've had a fantastic time. I'm loving it. Ollie's loving it. You're loving it. Everyone I know is loving it. I don't know anybody who says I've played this and it's crap who's always been into it, if that makes sense. Like, there might be people who like. Not to use Anna as an example for any other reason than I don't think she's played it. If Anna played it, she'd probably be like, it's just like all the other Pokemon games. It's not my thing. Do you know what I mean? She's not going to suddenly be like, oh my God, I'm convinced. This has compelled me to love Pokemon. But yeah, I feel like anyone who liked it anyway likes it still. And this is a very solid game. They've done a really good job. And I've got this gut feeling they're going to, I was saying to someone, I think they're going to release... Because they're obviously going to release DLC. There's already talks about them doing. I've heard people saying that they're expecting 3 or more, but I'm sort of wondering whether some of them might be free ones, like we got with Legends Arceus. Whether they might add in another chapter or something. Because I'm not saying it's incomplete, but I just feel like there's something. I'm almost expecting there to be a bit of a twist, or not a twist. That's the wrong word. I don't want to throw it. I think there's going to be an extra part to the story that it would be weird of them to lock behind DLC because the DLC from Sword and Shield was like extra stuff. It was like, you're the champion now, come and train in this dojo, or go and find this legend over here. Whereas this one, I feel like there is a bit of extra story they could tell that shouldn't be DLC, and then they'll do DLC on top. So I'm sort of hoping they'll announce that at some point. That's my gut feeling if I'm trying to think like them. But either way, I'm hoping they'll just release lots of content for it. Knowing it's 7 gig has made me. I know the other week when Pab said that I was shocked, but that's made me excited to think that they could probably do a whole extra 7 gigs worth of content, and that'd be quite a lot of content, and it still wouldn't fill a cartridge. So they must have a lot planned, surely, right? I don't want to get my hopes up, but they must do, surely.
You would think there'd be plenty of content. I mean, the sensible thing to do would be to make sure they're releasing at least one big piece of content every year until the next game comes out. You would think. And just keep people coming back to it. Whether or not they think along those lines, who knows? My plan from here, this Charizard thing is only for the next couple of days, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm not going to be ready to do that. But it comes back around in 2 weeks for another couple of days. Is that right? I think it comes back again. I'm sure it comes back on like the 14th or something, because I was basically checking to see, do I have to go absolutely nuts on this over the weekend to get to the point where I can actually do it, which I would never do. I'm never going to get to the point where I can do it. Like I say, I've literally just hit the credits. But apparently the Charizard raids come back for another 3 or 4 days in the middle of December. So my plan now is to get ready to do it for then, so I can get my beautiful Charizard.
I would say, I mean, I think you haven't done the Area Zero stuff yet. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I've done that. No, I've done that.
Okay,
I'm just about to go back around and do all the gym leaders again.
They're not as hard as you'd think. I kind of flew to each one with my Tinkerton as my main Pokemon, level 89, I think she was. And she did them all on her own, basically. I was like, they were still like level 65, level 70 and all of that, but she just went through and smashed them around the head with her ammo, and they were like, oh, you're really good still. Yep, see ya. And then you have to do a little bit more, but it didn't take as long as you'd think, really. I reckon you'd probably be all right.
Yeah, but that's because you're mainlining this 8 hours a day. I'm getting like 90 minutes a day on it. So for me to do, that's at least a couple of nights of play, and then I've got to level up a Pokemon suitable for the Charizard stuff as well. So I'm going to be at least 3 or 4 days before I'm ready to do the Charizard, and by then it'll be gone. So I'm going to have to wait until they come back round again.
You only get to catch one as well, and then after that you
just farm all the candies, don't you?
Yeah,
after that?
yeah. I mean, I did like 2, and suddenly I had like 60 L candies and 15 XL candies. I evolved a Lucario that was like level 15 or something like that, and it was level 100 like 5 minutes later. I was just like, right, yeah, I'm just stuffing all this candy in your face. I'm gonna teach you all the moves. I just thought, yep, cool, got a level 100 Lucario now. I should have checked his stats. Not that I'm that bothered about it, but I just thought I needed a fighting type, so sorted. But yeah, no, I might just do that. I think I was sort of looking there thinking, once I've got these other 18 Pokemon, I genuinely don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. But I reckon I could probably find stuff. I want to go shiny hunting, maybe. I've not really done that before properly in a game either. But it'd be quite cool to just have a wander around once I've got the shiny charm and just see what I can catch. But I need them to bring something out in the next sort of 2-3 months, because I don't know what to do otherwise. I mean, I will be streaming Violet still, so we'll still be playing a Pokemon game. But at the moment, 2023 looks like there's no games coming out at all, I don't think. There's nothing announced.
They must be doing a redo of one of the old ones. Surely they've done that every other year for like 4 years.
They did that this year, didn't they? This year we've had
2.
Diamond and Pearl. We've had.
It was late last year, wasn't it?
Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was Sword and Shield? Like a year before that, or 2 years before that? When was Let's Go then?
Must be
before that.
It feels like we've had a Pokemon game every year for like 4 years.
It feels like we've had 2 years this year at least.
We have had 2
I
this
think
year.
I think I just must have been playing Diamond and Pearl over Christmas or something, and I've lost track now. I thought we'd had 3 this year. But yeah,
No.
they'll announce something. I can't imagine they do Gen 5 remakes so soon. That seems really quick. Really quick. But yeah, I imagine they'll probably just hammer DLC this year with with Scarlet and Violet. That seems like the sensible thing to do, doesn't it? Maybe a Legends Arceus DLC would be interesting as well. I feel like that story left some open ends to it that you could easily do something new there if you want to. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm excited. I love the fact when it's silent. I feel like that's when they're about to do something impressive, if that makes sense. Every time it's gone quiet after something's happening, and you think their schedule looks empty, they go, "Aha! We fooled you." It's when it looks rammed that you start to think, "Hang on, there's a lot here." What have you spent much time on this stuff? But no, I'm happy. I'm a happy customer. It's all good.
Splendid. How are you getting on with it, Pabby?
How am I getting on
Played
with
any
it?
more?
I spent last weekend once again trying to get to somewhere I inevitably couldn't. I look at the map and I go, okay, I want to go there. Okay. It looks like I can get over there. Oh, wait, there's a big-ass mountain there. Okay, I'll go around this mountain. Oh, wait, there's something here as well that I can... Oh, wait, there's something else. And I just found myself in the complete opposite end of where I want to be. I was trying to get to a question mark, Sheepdog. You were telling me something what question marks are. I don't know what they are. I remember you saying it last week.
It's a Pokemon you've not seen before, so...
Is that it?
Yeah.
Does that mean I spent the entire weekend trying to get to a question mark? And then, right, get this. So
he's despawned 3 days ago.
Yeah, I've realised that at that point. I was like, what's this marker for? I was like, that's for that question mark. It's no longer there. Great. So I promptly turned it off. I went, okay, let me rethink what I'm doing. I don't mind the game. It is very much the same as always, and it always is, and that's not a bad thing. I find myself like say playing it and not really frustrated by the game itself, like what I'm doing. It's just it chugs at times, and the map isn't always the clearest. I don't think. I think sometimes the map, like makes me think is something is attainable. I even tried, and to a certain degree I succeeded. I even tried the backwards jumping up the cliffside, and it did kind of work. I got up the cliffside, but then I couldn't get down, so I was stranded on top of the mountain for a bit. It's all right. I don't hate it. I think I've done 6. Did I say 6 now? I think sounds right.
What gyms you mean, or
no? I've got 6 badges total.
Oh.
I went to get. I think the next thing is another. I think I've decided. You said the ones where you got to go to the caves and what have you, isn't it? That's the ones that gives you abilities for your legendary. Is that right?
Yeah, the Titans.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what I thought. Right, okay, let's do that first. Let's get the stuff. Let's go to them, and then we'll deal with that, and then we'll deal with other things. And see what I pick up along the way. What I have noticed is there's no definitive. I always feel like I kind of get my Pokemon. I have my starter, which I kind of generally stick with. I don't. Do you ever just bin your starter off, like not just bin it off? It goes into a box at a certain point because you've got something else.
My starter's still my main. Yeah, my main
mine
chap.
too. Mine too. Yeah, but
always got to have Martin walking around next to me.
Like the rest of them, all of them are on the chopping block. I feel like I've got nothing concrete in at the minute. Where it's like, yes, you stay, you don't leave this party. And at any point, if I find something that can do a similar move and something extra, that's it, you're gone. And I feel like I don't know if I've just not played enough of it to where I will start to lock in more of them closer to me playing more of it, or whether it's just a thing where I'm getting like higher level Pokemon now that are better than what I've got. And
yeah, I don't think I had anything locked in other than the starter. Everything else is because you get to the point where you're catching stuff that's as high or higher level as your party. It's so easy to level stuff up as well because you've got all the raids that give you all the candies and you've got the experience sharing. So it's so easy to level anything up. But yeah, no, I'm kind of changing my party up for each gym to suit what I'm going to go and do.
You can't just brute force a gym. I feel like the encounters are...
But you're not trying hard enough.
Well, I'm not playing as a full-time job. I think the encounters are harder. I was just fought a random guy, on the road, and he took 4 of my Pokemon out. And I was like, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, because it's open world, and if you go the wrong way, you can wander into an area where it's just full of level 50 Pokemon.
Yeah, and
it's harder. I was saying I brute force things, but I did get killed a lot of times by the Starfall ones and stuff like that. I think I failed more in this game than any other.
I think me Skyriming up mountains and over the other side of things probably doesn't help, because I'm probably going to places I shouldn't be, or I'm circumventing a path that would naturally level me up, and I'm just skipping over to things that I shouldn't be getting to.
I think you're just taking an odd route, because you are able to go anywhere. Oh yeah, you are. Theory,
but for me to go from like a level 20 area into like over a mountain, which would require me to go all the way around to this level 50 area or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Whereas I'm just skipping over that process of getting round there and naturally leveling up my Pokemon and doing other things on the way to that area.
Sure, but I think what I'm saying is that you could have wandered to that level 50 area without going any special route. You didn't have, the way you've chosen to do it was an odd route. I think you can.
Oh yeah.
There's holes in the mountain for a start. And there's just lots of different routes to places. You can go east and go up the top and round and come to the southwest via that route.
Maybe I've been east. I don't know.
If you're trying to just go west and go power through a mountain, I think there are probably barriers there, but I think the game recognises if you're determined to go around it, you can do it.
A lot of things sometimes is gated by water, which is frustrating. It's frustrating me that you just kind of emphasised me to go to the whatever they are to get the powers. That's the thing that I need now, because some gyms that I initially went for are locked out because I couldn't get to them because I locked it by water. But I'll get there with it. I will play some more. It's come to that point where it's lasted me 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks on now, and I've fallen off it, and now I've got to not force myself, but get back into the habit of playing it again. And because I don't hate it. I enjoy when I turn it on. I can find myself playing for at least an hour. I don't just turn it on and go, what am I doing? Turn it off. I do play for usually at least an hour and have a generally good time. So I will plod on with it probably, and see how we get on.
Excellent. Well, we'll move on from Pokemon there, because we've talked about Pokemon extensively the last 3 podcasts, and Anna's, I'm sure, loving it. So let's throw in an advert and then let Anna talk about something that's not Pokemon. Anna, are you still awake?
I'm awake. I just wasn't
We're
listening.
not talking about Pokemon anymore, so you can talk about games that are not as Pokemon-y as Pokemon is.
Before Anna starts, remind me after she's finished that I have played a new game that we also got review copies of, and I do need to talk about it. I don't want to forget while I'm listening to Anna. But go on, Anna.
Kevin says games. I've played 1 game because the Royal Mail has delayed my game that was supposed to come out today. So there
Royal
we go.
Mail's delayed your game today. Let me think.
Costello Protocol.
Callisto Protocol.
Yep.
You've
today.
gone for the... Wait, you've gone for the Callisto Protocol?
I have.
Huh? You don't like scary games?
No, but there's an easy mode, and I've been looking around, and apparently easy mode is a fun way to play the game. So I'm down for an easy mode of
I think
hacking.
it doesn't stop the jump scares.
Something different to play
It'll
over
get
the
you.
Christmas period.
It'll liven you up a bit. Yeah, it'll waken you up, that one. Bloody hell. Ugh.
So I still haven't finished God of War. I'm 45 hours in.
Oh. Oh, come on. I was hoping you'd come back this week and gone, I finished it, so I could say.
No, not finished it yet. And there's been a few times I'm thinking, oh, okay, we're getting to the end, and then it throws in another bit of story, and you're like, okay, when is this story end? So, like, you know how they do, like, oh, we should go adventuring for a bit. I'm like, no, let's carry on, because I don't want to do them side missions at the moment, because, like, some of the side missions are get all the birds. I've done that now, so that can go on the.
You've done all the birds?
Yeah, I got all the birds.
Jeez.
There's only 48 of them, and the thing is,
she burst into our bedroom at gone midnight last night. I found my bird.
I had missed one, in where the elves
That's the
live.
worst.
I missed one. I went, like, before I looked online where it was, because I couldn't find it. I went through all of the light temple. I went all the way to as far as I could, because you can only go to a certain thing. I was like, I can't find it, so I went online, and it was right at the start, and I was like, oh, for goodness sake. So I had to run all the way back down.
How would you know, though? How would you know which one you've missed? Because it's 48 of them. How would you?
Well, because so like when you look on your map in game, it would tell you how many birds are in that area. So I knew
right, okay, that's
says
something at least.
Yeah, it says like there's two, and I knew where one. I knew I'd got one because it was like just on a tree, and I knew I'd missed that. I had to. No, it wasn't a tree. It was in a temple over there, like in a alcove, and I was like, I knew I got one, but there was only two in the area, and I'd missed one. And I just looked online. I was like, oh, I would have missed that anyway. It was just like you're going up some steps, and there was like a little bit where it was broken, and you could jump down, and there was a chest down there, and there was obviously a bird where you have to like angle your axe from one like shiny bit to another, and I got it. So I've done all that. I got to the end of that mission. Wasn't expecting what was going to happen. I was like, I like, because like Kev said, it was midnight, and I was like, oh, I am too tired for this. But, so I've done that. The game not angered me yesterday, but it broke my heart what happened yesterday. Obviously, I'm not gonna say, but oh my god, I was like, no. But there is a lot of twists and turns, and you're like, no, and you're like, yeah, and you just, and I like the wolves. The wolves are my favourite, especially because you get to play as Atreus on his own, and you get to go like home, and that you've got like these two wolves, and you can go and cuddle them and talk to them, and that's really cute. So that's fun to do. But yeah, I've not finished it. I've got to go and do. So I've just done something that I shouldn't have really done, but because like Kratos didn't want to do because of what he saw in the last game, but he's done it. So yeah, 45 hours in, still not finished. I've seen like bits online, and I'm like, okay, I have like people's headlines of how they're farther through the game, and I was like, yeah, I ain't done that bit yet. So there's still a bit going on. I think most of my time though is spent running around doing side quests, because I saw one person saying, oh, they finished the game and now there's dragon armor, and I think, well, I've got the dragon armor. I've already done that kind of side mission because it was there. Because I don't like to leave if I can do it. Like if I can take on the enemies, then I'll stay in that area until I've done it. I think there was one that I was like, no, and I just turned around and legged it, and I was like, I'm not doing that right now. I've done it now. I've gone back and done it, but I'm getting there. Like, I've nearly upgraded all my like main weapons. I do like having a shield. If you incorporate that shield, you can beat people because you stun them, and then you can just go at them, because like they are because you can add like stun like charms and whatnot in the game. So that's quite cool. Like you can keep them in that state and hit them. But yeah, just still going and going at it. It's been 3 weeks, so it's kept me busy, especially with like Christmas coming up and getting all that sorted, and Andy being here all the time. So yeah, loving it. I'll probably play it again when I finish, just because, like, I know what bits I've missed, but I think next time I'll play it, like, if they have, like, a plus kind of game, I would definitely, like, take all my charms and weapons into that and just beat everything to a pulp, or do it on a hard difficulty or something. It's a nice, like, the environment, because I want photo mode to come, because I would be taking, like, hundreds of photos, because it's just, wow, it's so pretty.
I
Like,
did
I
take
don't
some
know.
screenshots the other day. Yeah, I did take
Yeah,
some. I was like, oh, okay, this is the first time I've had to do this, but this is
It's
cool.
so nice. Like, I don't know how people are moaning about it. Like, it looks like PlayStation 2 graphics. I'm like, what are you look at it. What are you talking about? People are just stupid. But yes, definitely enjoying it. Definitely game of the year for me.
Whoa! Give us a couple of weeks.
Oh, well,
we'll talk about
it
that.
is for me. Definitely. There's
Whoa,
nothing
no,
as
we're
compared to
saying
that.
keep that under wraps. Because we have a game of the year show coming up.
Well, there's been a few games this year. Oh, yeah,
Exactly,
that's
or
great,
is it? We don't know, do we?
No, not
Specifically,
really.
you'll have 5,
Yes.
and we'll vote on them, and we'll do a whole podcast on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's hard when you and Sheepdog don't play these games, and me and Pab do. So it's like we need.
You know what's
like,
worse? You know what's worse?
What's worse? It'll be Pokemon. Like, we already know that.
It shouldn't be Pokemon, but what's worse is that I'm not certain it's in mine at the minute.
Really? Like, how far in are you? Like, give me a
14 hours.
I thought you like these
Is
niche games.
that
Emma.
it? Niche games. Niche
Niche
games.
game's the biggest
Oh
game
my
of
God.
the year, probably.
Is it though, Pab?
Yes.
Yes,
It's no
it
Harry
is.
Potter.
Harry Potter's not out this year.
Yeah, Harry Potter's next year.
Like,
There's a
February the
subtle
10th.
throwback reference that I'm sure Sheepdog got.
Okay.
I'm 14 hours in.
14? 1-4?
1-4.
Oh, God.
1-4. I can tell you the exact point I've got to without spoiling
Yeah.
things. I have
He's just discovered he's a god who likes war.
have 3. I have. How do I say this? I have been reacquainted with 4.
Oh, gosh, okay.
So it's probably relatively early on, but not.
Yeah.
Probably you probably won't remember that, but at this point, but that is where I'm at. Last week, I had been acquainted with a bird friend, and this week I've been reacquainted with 4.
A bird friend?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Right, okay. No,
Yeah.
Right over my head.
Um,
Okay.
I like the game, I do, and when I play it, I find myself similar to Pokemon. I lose myself in it, and the time goes by very quick, and I don't
Yeah.
realise how late I've been playing it.
Yeah, I guess.
But the
yeah.
motivation for me to want to play it is lacking.
Really?
I don't overly like the combat.
No?
I don't. Oh, it's. Someone said it in a podcast I was listening to recently about they wish they could just skip the combat at times because it's just then just get to the cutscenes and the moving around the environments and the storytelling and stuff. And I get that because there are too many little kill rooms where you've just got to mash the buttons and.
Yeah, but it isn't about bashing buttons. If you
Well,
look
that's all
on
I
your...
do. That's
yeah.
the thing, though. Someone else said this on another podcast that said that it reminds them of a fighting game because you have all these different combos and stuff, and you're having to constantly go into the menus and look at what menus you've got.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to look at your skill tree and see what certain things do. Like, I've filled out all of my skill trees now for Atreus, for the weapons. Like, I've filled them all out, and it is now getting better because I was going through parts of the game and not like doing my skill levels because I forgot about them. But then that's like it will flush between you've got XP, go and spend it on the skills, and then like you unlock the skills and you're like, oh, this is better. This is giving it the oomph I want it to give, like in that stage of the game.
Yes, I agree.
Mm.
I do feel like I'm becoming more powerful with things, and combat is easier. But I also feel like I am being bombarded with loot. I am being bombarded with the amount of stuff, and it gets incredibly confusing at times as to what I should be wearing, what I shouldn't be wearing, what charms I need, what abilities I should be giving to Atreus or whoever else is in my party.
That is.
It's like a constant bombardment of things, and every time it says you can upgrade this, and I'm thinking, should I be upgrading this? Because realistically, I upgraded the last thing and then instantly got a new item and equipped that. So should I just be saving my resources for a better bit of gear that comes within the next hour? And I've kind of ignore that in certain aspects and just go, just upgrade, do whatever, it doesn't matter, it'll be enough resources. I don't know that. I don't know whether that's going to be the case, and I've got stuck with some basic armor that I upgraded to max in some early game armor, and then when I
have you? Wow.
I probably have done, and then just by the time then just binned it off to get some new armor when new armor comes along, and I like looking at it instead.
Well, they've all got different stats to them. Like some of them
do exactly, and
it depends how you play.
Yes, it does, and I like I say, I like the game. I do like it, and if you're asking me for a top 5, it probably would make my top 5. If you're asking me for a top 3, I don't know.
Fair enough.
You know what's worse? I never thought I would say this at the start of the year. I never thought I'd say this the week before God of War came out. I think Horizon is above it right now. With the caveat that I have finished Horizon, I haven't finished God of War.
Okay.
And like the original God of War and Horizon, the previous ones, they were games that feel like they were backloaded, and Horizon definitely was backloaded, and God of War, I feel like, grew and grew and grew the more I played it, and grew to love it. So I kind of expect the same with this one. I've just kind of got to get over the hump of wanting to play it, and
especially if you're playing Pokemon and things like that.
That's the other thing, is that I'm trying to do that and do Pokemon at the same time, and it's the end of season on Fortnite, and
there you go.
I'm absolutely cramming in, trying to level up because I want to get the Ultra Spider-Gwen skin or whatever it is that I'm trying to get. I know I got it. I know I got it weeks ago, but the bonus ones make them shiny.
Fair
and
enough.
So now I need a shiny one. Now I need the shiny version. So now I've been doing that, and to be fair, I got annoyed at the game. I got put into a bunch of games earlier in the week on Fortnite, and I was just getting stomped every time. I was like, what is going on? And I just got annoyed and just bought the rest of the levels. I was like, this'll do. I don't care. I'm throwing money at the problem now. I don't care. I can't do this anymore. I'm doing Rocket League games. I'm playing in like creative mode games with bloody toddlers and kids. All I can hear is just the mic's constantly shouting, just trying to get these points on levels. I was like, what am I doing? Turn this off. Just buy the levels. It was only 6 levels. So it wasn't like tons, and I already had the V-Bucks for it. So I just like did it. I was like, I can be done with it until next week when a new season starts, and we'd start all over again. But yeah, I've had so much, like, juggling so many different things with games, and they all can't. I mean, Fortnite doesn't demand my attention, but I enjoy playing that. But Pokemon, I feel like, demands your attention in the sense of I fall off it that easy. So if I don't stick with it, I will fall off it and it'll be gone. Like Arceus, gone. Sword and Shield went, just completely gone. Never finished any of them.
You are a monster, sir.
Same with that remake one that they did. played it for a weekend, maybe. Gone. It went. And it did the same with Horizon earlier in the year. I fell off Horizon Forbidden West so much and kind of pushed myself back into getting into it, and pushed me into playing more and more, just a bit at a time, until gradually I wanted to play it, and it gripped me enough to where I was playing it. And I'm hoping I'll keep playing God of War Ragnarok in hope that it will ignite me to be the point where I come home from work and I'm thinking about it, and I want to just go and start again and go and do it and keep playing it.
I just don't want to be spoiled. I think that's where
there's a bit
I'm
of
at.
that, but I'm just kind of unless one of you guys spoil it, I'm just kind of not paying attention to anything God of War based online or social media. I'm just not paying attention. It's like if I see like a thumbnail or stuff like that, and I've skipped past it. I have swiped down away from it immediately. I don't want to see it. It's like I just don't see it, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
I just kind of ignore what's going on with it. So, yeah, I'm hoping I can finish it before the Game of the Year ones, or at least have a better idea, or at least get to sort of where your level is of like 45-hour mark and say, okay, I haven't finished it, but I know that I can, from this point, I know that it is one of the best games of the year. And I know it probably is one of the best games of the year. But I think there are better ones out there as it stands. Anyway, sorry,
enough.
I was it's me just
No,
ranting over.
that's literally, that's it. Like, I was supposed to play a new game, not come.
Yes.
It was released, like, I know
Today.
the place sent it on Tuesday.
Right, yeah, but they've been on
still
strike
not
Wednesday,
here.
Thursday, haven't they?
Yeah, so I don't have it. Some people do, but I don't, unfortunately. It's the first time Shop 2 have never not come
Well,
through.
it's not their fault, to be fair. It's
It's
the fact
not their
that
fault.
it's the backlog of stuff that there's like 2 days with a backlog now they're trying to work through. So they'll get to you hopefully tomorrow.
Hopefully, here's hoping. But yeah, I was gonna play that, but sorry guys, can't tell you anything because I do not know. So yeah.
The other thing I have done something I shouldn't have done. I say I've got all these games I'm juggling at the minute. I've thrown another one into the mix. I mentioned it last week. I have managed to get Marvel Snap to work, and by God, it is damn good. It is a card game, the TCG collectible card game where you are building a deck akin to something like
Don't
Hearthstone.
tell him that.
Oh my, you will lose time to this game.
Well, let me ask you this, Pab.
Mm-hmm.
Can I spend a lot of money on it?
Oh, can
Don't
you?
tell him that.
You can. You don't have to spend
Excellent.
money. I know people who have talked about this.
Pab. Of course I have to.
There are currencies you can buy. Let's put it that way. So the card game itself, you have a deck of 12 cards, I think it is, or something like. I think it's 12 cards, all Marvel characters, all with like energy consumption and then a power up, like a strength sort of thing. So you have these cards, you have like 3 lanes, so to speak, on your board, 3 lanes, and each one has a different like modifier on it each time. 6 turns in the entire game. A game can last between probably 5 and at maximum probably 10 minutes. So it's quick in and out. And each turn, so the first 3 turns, the first turn comes up, it will identify the first lane. It'll say this is what this modifier is on this lane, and it can be like on the 5th turn, this lane will give all cards +3 power. So you then want to, it's a modifier, or it could say this one will give -3 to whatever, or any kind of different modifiers, or it'll say like it will bring in a random card from your deck and put it in this lane at turn 5 or 6 or whatever it is. And then the next turn comes turn 2, and the next lane comes up and with a different modifier on it, and the next lane comes up at turn 3. And each time you are getting you start off with 1 energy, and you can put 1 cards down, and you've got to basically win the game by getting best 2 out of 3 of all 3 of your 3 lanes. And it's good. It is very good. It is addictive. There is tactics to it. There's like a thing to the game where you basically put 1 energy cube down as your stake in the game. So it's like putting down your putting down your chip, your chips in poker to get to buy into the game. You put the 1 energy down, and the other, your opponent puts the energy down as well. So there's 2 energy up for grabs, effectively. I think that's right. And at any point you can snap, and then it will double the amount of energy up for grabs. So then there's 4 up for grabs. And at that point, if someone did it to me, I can either okay, you want to do that? Let's do it. 4 up for grabs, or you can retreat, and you will just lose the 2. I think. You just only lose 2. You only lose a 2 instead of losing 4. You can just retreat and just say, okay, I'm out of this. So it's kind of it's a bit like a bluffing system. A little bit, I don't know, because I've not really done it. But you can also, if someone snaps at you, you can snap back at them. So then it's a double down again. So then there's 8 energy up for grabs. And at that point, if I snapped back at them and they retreated, they would then lose only 4 instead of essentially losing 8. It's a really clever system in the game, and I haven't done it. I haven't done it yet, and I haven't encountered anyone do it to me yet. As I would be enticed to just snap back at them instinctively, just to be out of spite. But I haven't done it yet. But I have played now probably close to a dozen games. Maybe I've won all of them. I think. I don't know if I'm playing bots at the minute. I don't think I am, because unless the bots are just taking the time, and they're very cleverly programmed bots that seem to pause on the menu a lot and just sit around and just wait and think and deliberate moves, and if possible. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. You also, every time you level up cards, and then you can change the artwork in them and change them from common to uncommon, and you move them up the ranking scale, and I think they'll get different abilities on them from that. This game is good. This game is very good. It's on phones. It's also on Steam. I've had it downloaded to my Steam Deck, so I might have a go on that. It also lets you sign into a Google or an Apple account, once you boot it on Steam, so you can cross progress from your phone if you're playing it on your phone.
Interesting.
Yes, it is very good. Free to play.
How much money have you spent on this, Pap?
Nothing. I've not played it enough. There is a battle pass. I can't.
How much money do you think I'll have spent by next week?
I don't know. There is a battle
Kevin,
pass on
stop it.
There's a battle pass on it, and I don't know how to buy the battle pass, because I've heard people have said I've just paid for the battle pass and that's it. And I'm looking, thinking, show me where to pay for the battle pass. I don't know where it is. All I can find is buy the gold for currency to buy the cards of the day, however it is, offers of the day, or buy a starter pack which gives you some gold and a Captain America card. But that's about it. I don't know where to buy a battle pass. I know there is a battle pass. I can look at the battle pass. I don't know where. There's no button to purchase. But it's all right. I like it. I like what I've played. And the fact that it's you can be done in up to no more than 10 minutes. It's usually about 5 minutes, to be fair. Like I say, I just like that fact that if I literally need to. Also, it doesn't like just sap my battery for fun. It didn't just completely, because it is probably 5-minute games. I was doing a quick game here and there at lunch break, and it's just not draining my battery hardly at all. So if you're worried about that, like I always worry about playing games on phones, it's just going to start sapping my battery. No, it's absolutely seems to be pretty damn good. Unless, to be fair, unless you're playing for an hour. I don't know what it's like to play it an hour at a time because I haven't done that. But so far, it's been very good. 0 money spent. I'll report back to you next week whether I have spent some money. But that is the only other one that I have played this week.
Right. Well, I need to review this game because we got given a review copy before it was released, and it came out on the 28th of November. So we're a little bit late, and if they're listening, I apologise for being late. We missed a week, and then it was Pokemon week, but here we are. So I got offered a copy of Soccer Story on the Switch, and before I go into review, I was like, can we have 2 copies? Because I reckon one of our co-hosts will really enjoy this. And then Kev was like, meh, I'm busy. So
Football Manager has just come out.
Yeah, no, fair. That is fair, actually. I was a bit surprised, though. I thought you'd be... I mean, this is still up your street, I think.
I mean, if you sell it to me now, I've got the code. I can download it. But so your job now is to do a sales pitch on me.
In the Apple Cup final, a catastrophe strikes. They don't really go into what happened, but one minute you scored a goal, next minute catastrophe struck, and then
I've been there.
Bep Jatta, the leader of soccer, has ended up banning football from the world. Only Soccer Inc. football is allowed to be played under strict rules and scrutiny, and for an entire year, the world is footballless except for this really sterile Soccer Inc. football. And then one day, a football flies through your window, smashes your window, and then just magically flies off out the window, and you go off looking around town for it, and you discover that there's a football there, and everyone's like, shush, hide it, you can't have a football, it's illegal, it's against the rules, the people are going to arrest you. And basically from there unfolds the Soccer Story. It's basically an adventure RPG. Every problem can be solved with a football. So there's targets around the place you can kick a ball at. You're trying to help, I think it's your brother, do his little job of tidying up the bins, and you just boot a football into each of the bins to make them stand up straight. I have found it very entertaining. It's quite quirky and funny, the talking and the plot, and the way they've tried to justify football being the answer to every problem is entertaining. There are little quirky, weird bits to it, like you need a team to obviously be a team to play against other people, but you can't have a team without having a captain, and all football teams have a captain who's an animal. So you have to go and find a local panda to join your team as your captain. That's where things got a bit hectic for me, because there were 2 things. There's a pig that likes collecting bones, and he gives you a shovel to dig up bones, and every time I tried to dig up a bone, I couldn't. It was like this pointer was pinging back and forth, and you have to press A at the right time to select the pointer. And I thought this was integral to the story, so I'm doing you a favour here because I thought it was integral. I sat and tried to do it, and I could not get it right. And I don't know if it was me or the game. It's probably me. Everyone else is probably going to be fine with this, but I could not line it up right. It kept bouncing back and forth. I'd press the button, and it'd be outside of the box, and it would say, "Oh, you failed." And then I realised, once I actually finally did it after a bit too much effort of trying, it wasn't part of the story. I didn't need to do it. What I needed to do was something really simple. But people watching me stream it tonight saw me spend, again, probably only 10 minutes, but it felt longer. There was sort of Panda said he'd join me if I could score 20 goals in a minute. And all I had to do was basically point my right stick on the controller and pull the trigger and just score 20 goals in this circle. Wherever the panda went, I had to shoot there and score. But I kept getting 18 and missing the goal. And it took. I'm not good at games, you know that. And that was me just being an absolute dipstick. But outside of those 2 things, it's funny, it's fun, it's just a little RPG. Once I had my team together, I had to play the first team that I come up against, which was I think called something like Toddlers FC. They were just a bunch of toddlers that had a football team. We've called it goal ball or something like that because soccer's illegal, but goal ball's not. And I had to play the toddlers. I ended up winning 3-2. It's funny because it goes from being like an RPG to being a sort of 90s style football game where you're passing between your players, you're shooting. It's not FIFA level of intricate. It's just slide tackles, and you don't get a red card or anything. It sort of goes, that's nasty, when you sort of destroy one of their players. You shoot, you score. You can also just play quick games on your own. So when I had like 10 minutes for the podcast, I did a quick game where I picked a team that was their logo was an owl, so I picked that, and then we played a bunch of ghosts in a game. But you just have to solve the puzzles, do the quests. There was an old guy that said he'd join me if I could go and score in every goal that he'd made. He'd painted pink goals around the map, and I had to go find all the pink goals he'd spray painted. There was a goal appreciation society that said they wanted me to go and score a goal in every goal in the town, and every town I go to, they'll have 6 goals I've got to go and score in. And obviously it gets more complicated as it goes. There's a dribbling appreciation thing where you dribble the ball around a circuit. What else was there? There was the target appreciation. There's all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, lots of random little quests, lots of little bits to do. It's on the Switch. So the way I described it when I was about an hour in was, this seems like the perfect game to play while you're having a poo. You just kind of sit and you play it for a bit and have fun with it. I think I stand by that. It's not only on Switch, it's on PlayStation, it's on Xbox, it's on PC. So it's on Steam, so that must mean it's on Steam Deck, right? It's only a 500.
One would think.
Yeah, so it looks like it's on every platform. I think it's fun. I'm going to continue playing it. I probably won't stream it because I'm streaming Pokemon, but I'm going to continue playing it unless there's demand. It's funny because it's also led to people demanding for me to do a FIFA stream because they know how bad I'll be at it. It'll be entertaining. So I may do a FIFA stream off the back of this in future once I've done Pokemon. But no, yeah, I if I'm honest, I thought Kev will like this, but I'm probably not going to enjoy it. And then when I started playing it, I enjoyed it. So yeah, good stuff. Well done, Soccer Story.
Well, you've talked about it for long enough for me to enter the code and actually download it. So
cool.
It now lives on my Switch. So you never know. I might be persuaded to open it up at some point. I've got a holiday coming up. If I get bored of Pokemon, it's there. It's the next game down on the list.
Someone needs to put Bep Chatter in his place, Kev. But yeah, that's me done.
Are we done then, boys and girls? Is that your lot?
I think we're done.
Yes, time for bed.
Excellent. Well, then let's wrap this bad boy up then. If you want to follow us on the internet, you can follow the podcast at MGUK Podcast, or you can follow me at Lelujo.
And I'm at RB6K or Sheepdog 6K, depending on the platform.
I'm at Miss Lelujo.
Ridiculous system.
And I'm at Pab 1986.
You need to pick a name for one system or another, Sheepdog.
Well,
to it. This is
when
ridiculous.
Twitter dies, I'll be rid of RB6K forever, but there's 500
Can't you just
podcasts.
change your Twitter username?
Well, it won't redirect, and I also opened Sheepdog 6K as a Twitter account. I did go through a brief trying to shift, but only like 80 people shifted, so I stuck with RB6K.
Ridiculous. See you next week, boys and girls.
Have a good week.
Toodle pip.
Thanks for listening, folks.